students. This is our subject, Disciplines and Ideas in the Social Sciences. For the second quarter, week 2 lesson. Our topic for this morning is all about human environment system. But before we begin, of course, this is prepared by Rafi G. Aguilar, your teacher in this subject. Before we begin, of course, don't forget to visit our official website at guidef.sims.school/LCMS. I repeat, guidef.sims.school/LCMS. Don't forget to visit our learning path, download the PDF files there I have uploaded, as well as the activities and quizzes. So I guess that's all. Now let's begin. What is human environment? A human environment is the area that a human lives in. They are varied from dirt, even more so by humans' ability to adapt the environment to us and us to the environment. So that is environment all about. It's the area that a human lives in. Remember that it's the area that human lives in. So to formally begin with our discussion for this morning about the human environment system, let us know first our objectives that may serve as our guide for today's discussion. So this will be our objectives. First is to understand more about the human environment system. So we are going to understand more about the human environment system. What is human environment system? So we are going to know that right after this. And then recognize the difference between renewable and non-renewable. So we are going to recognize the differences between the renewable and the non-renewable. So what is renewable and what is non-renewable? And the third one is to determine how people choose to use land. So we are going to determine how the people use land. So that is. And last but not the least is to give essence about the importance of having human environment system. So we are going to give importance, the essence of having human environment in human environment system. So how important is it for us as human beings? Okay, environment and resources. Humans depend on their natural environment to survive. We need the environment to provide energy, water, food, and other materials. In prehistoric times, people lived in areas where they could hunt and gather food. Later, they moved to pastures and fertile soils for farming. Today, rapid transportation and technology allow people to be less dependent on their immediate environment. However, people still need access to resources. Remember the lack of rain this summer and how much we needed it to rain. So, humans are dependent on our environment, our natural environment, in order for us to survive. That's why we are dependent of our natural environment. Why? Because we need environment to provide energy, water, food, and other materials in order for us to survive. So that's why you can compare what the prehistoric times. So people live in areas where they could hunt and gather food. That's their one way of surviving, right? And later, they moved to pastures and fertile soils for farming. So for farming, planting vegetables, fruits, their resources of their food in order to survive. And today, rapid transportation and technology. So we are now in digital age, digital world, wherein people are dependent on the technology itself. And yes, allow people to be less dependent on their immediate environment. However, people still need access to resources. So that's it. That's environment and resources. So the difference between environment is the environment is a place where human and animals live. While the resources is also a place where you can get the resources of your food in order for you to survive. So that's how very important the environment is for us as human beings. Natural resources. Okay, so what is natural? Water is just one example of natural resource or a useful material found in the environment. People depend on many kinds of natural resources. So there are two kinds, the renewable resources and the non-renewable resources. So what is renewable resources? So renewable resources are resources that earth or people can replace. So non-renewable resources are a resource that cannot be replaced in a relatively short period of time, if at all. So non-renewable meaning they cannot be replaced, or they cannot. It could go away, or it could be faded, something like that. It will never return. So those are non-renewable resources. Meaning once you've already used that, you will never use it again. You cannot use it again because it's non-renewable. Meaning it cannot form another resource. So while renewable resources that earthier people can replace. So people can replace, that is natural resource mission is to acquire, to protect, to restore, to maintain, and to sustain outstanding and representative examples of the California's natural and scenic values for the benefit of present and future generations. So that's according to the image itself. Fossil fuels. So what is fossil fuels? Fossil fuels are non-renewable resources formed over millions of years from the remains of plants and animals. Okay. The coal-made natural gas and petroleum are important fossil fuels. When non-renewable resources are used up, they are gone. Yes, so it will transform into gaseous form, and it will gone. It will go to the ozone layer. Yes. To the atmosphere. To the atmosphere. Energy resources. So sources of energy are important for human activity. Some resources such as wind and sunlight are renewable. Today, we mostly rely on non-renewable energy resources such as coal and petroleum. Because these resources are non-renewable, Earth will eventually run out of them. Land use. The way people use land are affected by both the natural environment and culture. In many regions, land use has changed over time. For example, people living in temperate climates with fertile soil may use land mainly for farming. People in the Arctic areas may use land mainly for hunting. So that's the difference, no? People living in temperate climates with fertile soil may use land mainly for farming. And for those in the Arctic areas may use mainly for hunting. So that's the difference. Farming and hunting. For the fertile soil, it's for farming. And for the Arctic areas, their land may use for hunting. So colonization is a movement of new settlers and their culture to an area. People's impact on the environment. All people need food, water, clothing, and shelter. To meet these needs, people have to use materials from their environment. As a result, people have impacts on their environment in their daily lives. So, all people need food. Yes, of course, not just all the people, but of course the animals. So, and as well as the plants. All the living creatures or living things in this world needs food, right? So, food and water and clothing. Of course, that's very important for us as humans. We need water, we need food, and of course, shelter as well as clothing. So in order for us, we have to use our materials to use that one. As a result, people have impacts on their environment in their daily lives. So yes, the role of an environment has played important roles in our life as human beings. Because without environment, there will be no humans. we cannot survive for a short period of time. So that's it. Extracting resources. People extract or remove many kinds of natural resources from their environment. Example, cutting down trees to get wood. Yes, that's it. So we are dependent of our environment, our resources. But what's the purpose of cutting trees? Of course, we use for making furnitures or to build a house. So that's it. That's why we use resources for our own, for the good of the people. Yes. Extracting resources can be harm ecosystems and the environment, of course. What's the purpose of the trees? The trees can absorb the water so that it will avoid flood. But what happens if there will be no trees? So there will be lots of floods. And deforestation is the loss of forest cover in a region. Drilling oil wells and transporting oil can lead to oil spills. So example of this is the oil spill in Gulf of Mexico on April 2010. Other impacts. People also affect the environment by growing food or producing other goods and services. People's activities can also produce pollution or waste that makes the soil, air, or water less clean. Examples. Farmers using fertilizer to feed their crops pollutes water and soil. Yeah. Pollution is a spillover, which is an effect on someone or something not involved in an activity. Finding the best solution. People try to increase the positive and decrease the negative effects of using resources. For example, using a resource might lead to economic growth but also create a pollution that needs to be reduced. Working together, people, governments, and businesses can try to use resources wisely. So example of this, these wind turbines in Canada convert wind energy into electricity. So that is finding the best solution. So this will be the objectives. Human environment systems distinguish the ways by which human environment interaction shape cultural and natural landscape. Interpret the thematic and mental maps to understand landscape changes and an individual sense of place. And explain environmental and social issues through the analysis of spatial distributions and spatial processes. So human environment systems is an integrated scientific framework for studying the interface and reciprocal interactions that link human, example, economic, and social, to natural, example, biological and hydrologic, for subsystems of the planet. Concerning the sustainability and conservation of ecosystems and society. So, humanity affects environment, and then environment affects humanity. So, as you can see on this diagram itself, no, the humanity can affect the environment. Why? Because the human activities can affect the environment. So, if the humanities are not good, humanity or the human are not protecting our environment, then it will also affect on us. So it's a boomerang effect. What you do to the environment will also affect to you if you will not protecting the environment, or if you don't have care or concerned with the environment, then it will also affect us human beings. So that's it. The meaning of that is for the humanity will the human activities, if it's not proper, it's not good, it's bad for the environment, then of course we will lose our environment. And what will happen by the time it happens, people also will be affected. So therefore, it's a boomerang effect. Human-environment interaction. So dependency explores the way in which humans are dependent on nature for a living. So dependency explores the way in which humans are dependent in nature for a living. So humans are dependents of the environment. Okay, so as you can see in that example, so they are dependent of our nature or our environment, as you can see. So they can use the land for farming, and after that, of course, they will get what they have planted, no? Something like that. Human environments interaction still and adaptation. So adaptation relates to how humans modify themselves, their lifestyles, and their behavior to live in a new environment with new challenges. So that is adaptation, meaning you adapt the changes. You accept the changes. So humans modify themselves, their lifestyles, and their behavior to live in a new environment with new challenges. So meaning if you will be living or migrating to other places, you are going to adjust. And of course, the environment itself will also adjust to you. Okay, so maybe they are in a cold country. And like that, as you can see. So see the differences. So you are going to adapt to change. So meaning if you are living in a tropical country, then you will wear like this, the first image. And then if you will live on an ice area, then you will wear the same dress that the other pictures are showing. Okay. Then modification. So what is modification? Modifying the environment for his comfortable living. Meaning you have your own style, you have your own way, you have your own ideas of how to live comfortably. Yeah, comfortably. As this. So they you modify this for purposes, no? So uses technology. So that is modifying. So next is the negative effects. So what are the negative effects? First, global warming and climate change. And then the water pollution and air pollution. So it's an air pollution. Noise pollution and the soil pollution. So first is the global warming. So what is global warming? The warming of the surface of the earth. And the climate change is the changing of the climate itself. The water pollution as well as the air pollution. Places that affected by earthquakes might form land or rock formations. So after affected by earthquakes, it will form land or rock formations. Places that prone to drought and flood might change its landscape. So as you can see on our legends, the yellow color are droughts prone area, and the violet is the hot desert, the green is the cold desert, and the blue is the flood prone area. So places that are affected by earthquake. So what are the places affected by earthquake? Flood prone areas with blues, and places prone to drought and flood might. So those are in places that are in yellow colors, like the Karnataka, the Goa, the Maharashtra, the Andhra Pradesh, and Odisha. So those are the places that prone to drought and flood might change its landscape. Okay, so mineral map, metallic. So this is from the India country. Air pollution is a big killer. Do you agree on that? Okay. Spatial distribution of premature deaths from air pollution in the United States. So as you can see, that's per 100,000 adults. So the color blue is for 1, and for the color green is for 1 to 5. The yellow is 5 to 10, the orange is 10 to 20, and then the red is 20 to 30, and then the violet is 30 plus. So from air pollution, highly urban areas. Scale 1 to 400,000. Industry types: paper making, cement factory, limestone mining, machine making, iron smelting, copper smelting, and others. High possibility of having social problem in urban areas. The human environment is concerned with people who live in different environments, their activities, and the environmental features which they have created. We also look at the interdependence of people in the local community. This is developed from the infant classes, looking at those who help us in the locality. Following the spiral nature of the curriculum, this theme of interdependence is further developed from 3rd to 6th class. Through the study of one European and one non-European country, we look at how we depend as countries on each other and how different cultures enrich one another. Our Earth is human environment. By this, I mean that though humans are less in number than animals, insects, and birds combined, we dominate the Earth by our habitats. Anywhere where humans live and create facilities is a human environment. It is not limited to buildings and other infrastructure, but consists of the way we function, the way we influence our surroundings by our thoughts and actions. It encompasses our philosophy, our art, culture, our social structure, our economic activities and their impact on the environment, our behavior as a result of our thinking, and so on. So thank you so much, class, for having your time with me. Don't forget to visit our official website at gaitf.scenes.school/lcms. That's all for today. Thank you and God bless everyone. Stay safe. Bye-bye.